We need to talk about Kris Jenner's sketchy church. The California Community Church was founded by Kris Jenner, and to be a member at this church, you must spend $1,000 a month. And they expect you to donate 10% of your salary to their organization. This church is a cash cow for Kris Jenner and for all the wrong reasons. On top of it all, their pastor Brad has a disturbing past that is far from holy. So let's get into it. There's something up when it comes to this church situation and the Kardashians, because I don't really think of Kris Jenner as a super religious person, yet she's actually founded a church of her own. And it's not a cheap church either, because they are charging their members $1,000 a month to attend this church, which is a huge tax break for Kris. You guys know that Kris Jenner is a mega businesswoman. I mean, she's the momager to her daughters who are so incredibly successful, but a church just seems so out of place. And as you guys know, the Kardashian family is full of women and they all have K names. So Kim, Kimberly, Kylie, Kendall, Kris, all of them. But their church is full of C's, which I think is interesting. California Community Church. And I can't help but to think that this is on purpose because the logo has 3 C's. And guys, I have been to a few different churches before and a member of a few, in my lifetime, and I've never ever seen a logo like this. Like, I don't know if there's like some secret something to it, but looking at this logo, you would have no idea that this is a church, and it's very telling, when it comes to why Kris Jenner has this church in the first place, because it's not for religious purposes. So actually owning a church is a huge tax write-off. And you guys know at the end of the day, everything's about money when it comes to these people. So you could reduce your taxes up to 60% or even up to 100% if you pay in cash. So Kris founded the California Community Church back in June 2008, and she requires her members to pay $1,000 a month, which is so much money, on top of donating 10% of their salary. So they're sending a ton of money to Kris Jenner. But if you go onto the church's website, you will see that it's just like any ordinary church. I mean, they do church trips and things like that, but nothing that would cost that amount of money. So where's the money going? It's also kind of sketchy that the Kardashian family makes a ton of donations to this church and they write it off on their taxes, so they get money back from that. But it's really a big cycle because the money's just going to their mother and, being dispersed again, and it's just like a big loophole in the system. Back in 2011, Kim Kardashian had a talk show interview with Piers Morgan, and she told him that she donates millions of dollars a year to her mother's church, which makes it a tax-deductible donation. I mean, it's a good thing to donate to church, but when you're just giving it pretty much to your mother, it kind of erases the moral part of it all. And when it comes to churches, they have a lot of protection, and you actually can't see any of the financial information. So we have no idea how much Kris is racking up from this church, but it's got to be millions and millions of dollars, especially being in such a prime location in California. But you would think because they have so much money and they're in California and it's the bougie Kardashians that the church would be so spectacular. But really, it's not. It's a small building, a very, very small building, and they actually supposedly rent out the ballroom at the hotel down the street, and they have service there. So it's kind of a ripoff when you're making so much money from this church. People are paying so much to go into a Sheraton hotel and to have service that way, which I've, again, been part of churches and mega churches that build beautiful facilities, and the Kardashians could totally do that. But are they passionate about this church? Not really. It's just like a charity write-off to help them on their taxes. But let's go ahead and switch gears because we need to talk about the pastor Brad Johnson, because Kris Jenner actually found him at a Starbucks, which was super convenient, and now he's the lead pastor. There's a very damning article out there about Brad Johnson, and guys, it is not pretty. So I want to give you guys a trigger warning because there are a few controversial topics that we're going to be talking about here. Supposedly, Kris Jenner handpicked Brad, which is very interesting because he's here to lead the congregation, yet he has a very dark past. So did Kris know about this, or did she have no idea, or what? So Brad actually used to run a church that had about 4,000 people who attended in California, but that was until he had a cheating scandal go public, which pretty much ruined his marriage because he cheated on his wife. He actually admitted everything in a public letter where he wrote about cheating on his wife, and he took full responsibility for everything that he did. So Brad actually got divorced from his wife in 2007, and in the papers, they don't actually mention any cheating. So because Brad was leading a church at the time, this ruined his reputation. And one churchgoer said that his actions created a tremendous amount of resentment and hurt. Leadership has a higher calling. It's a huge deal. So everyone was calling him a fraud and a hypocrite, and he actually ended up trying to take his life twice. And on the third attempt, he took a bunch of medication at his home, and he ended up being revived. Honestly, thank God, because no one deserves to try to take their own life. Please, I know it's he's probably really stressed and depressed and everything. I can't imagine what he was going through at the time, but this is just so heartbreaking to me. Cheating or not, nobody deserves to go through things like that. And he actually wrote in his open letter that he will not ever be a pastor again. He just can't see it. He said, "I'm not qualified." So it sounded like he wasn't interested in leading a church ever again. And he was just, hanging out at Starbucks one day, and Kris Jenner came up and was like, "Hey, you want to lead a full-blown church?" And it was his opportunity. It's bizarre that he went from leading a church to working at a Starbucks to leading Kris Jenner's church. And he actually ended up marrying Khloe and Lamar Odom, which again, I find that so interesting. So this guy's pretty tight to the family, and I'm interested in how well he knows them, if he's their first choice to go and marry Khloe and Lamar. So the California Community Church is definitely interesting, and it wasn't actually always called the California Community Church. It was once called the Life Change Community Church. Its reputation was pretty much soiled from the jump because Brad Johnson was the pastor, and he had such a shady past. And there was this whole mentality that these rich people use these churches and these charities to their advantage. So that's what was going on. It was also revealed that the church failed to pay their taxes. So they decided to change the name of the church to try to fix the reputation. In 2010, 2011, they changed their name to Life Change Community Church, which why are you briefly changing your name, and why aren't you paying your taxes if you're already getting so many tax breaks? So the church ended up having a lien put on it, which is no good, and that's a really bad look for any organization. And there are two reasons why this lien would be put on a church: because they simply didn't pay their taxes, or they forgot, which I don't know how you forget that. And the other reason would be that they weren't paying taxes related to payroll expenses, because a church still does have employees to run it. So were they not paying payroll taxes? That would not be a good look. If you guys saw my video about Kim Kardashian and Brandy, then you guys would know that Kim Kardashian used to donate a pretty penny of her eBay income to this church, which is pretty sketchy in my opinion. Someone got their hands on some IRS records, and it shows that through her eBay, so not even her own personal income, but just her eBay alone, she was sending $20,000, $40,000, thousands and thousands of dollars through her eBay to her mother's church. Kim Kardashian does still have an eBay, which is wild because she's been around forever, but she does sell personal items on there and she makes some money from it. She's not currently donating to the church, but she was for a good amount of time. I do want to talk about the reviews when it comes down to this church, because if you were to Google it right now, it has about a 2-star. Well, a 2.8. I guess you can round it up to 3, but it's pretty much a 2.8, which how does a church get a 2.8 rating? Well, a lot of people aren't happy with Pastor Brad, or the fact that you have to pay so much money a month to go to a church which is pretty much half-assed. I was watching a few of their I don't know. I mean, they have a good band. It has good music. It's an average church. It's not worth $1,000 a month. And there are actually some reviews where the owners were responding to them. And I have to admit, there are also some good reviews as well. And I really do believe this is just kind of a basic church and a way for Kris Jenner to make money and to write off a ton of money, which, you know, they're all about their money at the end of the day, because this church, I don't know, there's nothing really holy about it. Again, look at the logo. I just can't understand why a church would ever have a logo like this. And when you look back on their financial history, it's not a pretty picture because ultimately they were caught in a tax scandal. But when it comes to Hollywood and churches, there's a lot to unpack here. And there's actually a full diagram that I'm going to put up on the screen of just different celebrities who are associated to different churches. And if you guys want me to look more into the churches in Hollywood and how sketchy they are and the red flags, please let me know, because there are a lot of concerning things going down. And as someone who is a Christian who has grown up in a church, like, I'm like looking around like, wait, what? This isn't, you could tell that like they're taking religion and they're making it into something else, and someone needs to call it out. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Here's my email if you have any other video ideas, and let's go ahead and open a PO Box package item. Okay, so it looks like this package is from Her Crystals, which is a friend to the channel. I'm so excited, and honestly, this one was kind of like falling to the bottom of the pile, so I'm really happy to just like open it for you, because you're probably wondering if it got lost in the mail or something. I really try to open my PO Box packaged items as quickly as I can, but sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, guys. So let's go ahead and see what they sent me this time. Sloan wanted to share our new men's line with you. Use code Sloan for 10% off from Her Crystals. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. So it looks like we've got a smoky quartz and a tiger's eye here. So let's go ahead and see what is going on. Ooh, look at this like bracelet. Okay, there's also some like earth inside of it. Maybe it's like, oh, it's lavender or something. Let's go ahead and see what this is about. Okay, so I opened it over the trash because I didn't want to get the stuff all over me, but look at this tiger's eye. It's so pretty. I love this star, and these crystals are always so impressive to me, guys. Definitely go and check them out. And look at this smoky quartz bracelet. Wow, I definitely like this because sometimes I have like some rainbow ones and they're just like too colorful. So this is definitely a vibe. Thank you so much, Her Crystals. You guys continue to impress me. Definitely go and check out their shop below, and I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.